Check it out. I finally got another boat to review here on the channel, and that is thanks to Oxidean Marine. This is the Mini Dom, and it is supposed to be a super fast boat. Now, it is a V-hull style of boat. It is a carbon fiber epoxy hull, so this is a very, very rigid hull. I mean, there is just no flex anywhere in this thing. You know, no deflection in the bottom, in the top of the deck. I mean, it is just a solid unit. Really well done. It's got a really nice gloss coat to it, both top and bottom, where it's really important. But they did a great job in just designing and setting up this hull. It's got a canopy that is separate, so you could access everything on the inside. Let me flip it over to the bottom here because you need to see this, the way it's designed. So this design right here of the V-hull basically is to get the boat up and out of the water and ride almost like a hydro, where it's just riding on this tip right here and of course on the prop. So less hull in the water means less drag. Less drag means a lot more power, and this thing is just going to fly. Really nice design, nice and smooth. You can probably see here it's got a water pickup on the bottom because you know, the electronics inside are water cooled. But I love it. I love the way this thing looks. Now, the decals on here are an option. These Oxidean Marine gave me. They have 3 different styles. These look very cool. The boat actually looks very cool just in full carbon fiber. I'd probably go and throw a little piece of vinyl on the canopy there as a windshield, you know, if you're going to run it just bare carbon fiber. But I do like the decal options that are available for this. All right, now let's just take a look at the backside before I show you the inside of the boat. And so this stuff back here, all aluminum running hardware. So again, this is basically like a race boat. Bill over at Oxidean Marine was telling me that a lot of people race these all over the world. You know, they're really that good of a hull. Okay, so now our rudder support here, all machined aluminum, really nice black anodized to it. It's got the Oxidean Marine logo on there, and even the edges are jeweled just for that extra, you know, nice little look to it. And then the actual rudder support is aluminum as well. And then of course the rudder itself is aluminum, and it is knife edge. So, you know, it's just gonna cut right through the water, and less drag, more power. As you can see on the outside, it does have a turn fin as well. It's got a nice aluminum rudder bracket, black anodized, and then the turn fin itself, you know, again, is knife edge, so it's got to cut through the water. This stuff, the rudder and the turn fin do not come on the boat. You have to go and put those on yourself. So there is a little bit of assembly required. Most of the boat is pretty much pre-built. This is an almost ready to run. So what you're going to need for this particular one that I'm going to show you, I'll put the link in the description below to this particular boat. But you're going to need a radio system. It does have a servo in there, so just a radio receiver, a battery pack, and some hatch tape. I believe that's pretty much it. And a couple of tools to finish some of the assembly here, like the, you know, installing the rudder and turn fin. But it should be pretty simple to get up and running. The other thing to note on the outside, so you could see the propeller shaft coming out here. This is a stuffing tube. It's got a nice bracket here with an O-ring, and it is actually a wire drive on the inside. So it's not a flex shaft. And in talking to Bill, the reason why they went with a wire drive is just it reduces that deflection. You hear that whirring sound, which I'm guessing is kind of a loss of power. So again, this wire drive setup should work really, really well. And then on the back of the wire drive is a threaded sleeve, so the prop could get screwed on here. And they do go and give you composite props with the kit. There's actually 2 in the kit. And I was told that most likely there is going to be a running change coming up where they give you an aluminum prop out of the box because some people have broken the composite prop, and Oxidean Marine wasn't a fan of that, so they're probably going to make a running change there. Additional things on the outside of the boat, we've got this antenna tube that is aluminum. This little plate here is a number bracket from what I gather. I guess if you're gonna go race the thing, you could put a number plate on there. And then over here, the rudder hardware. So we've got a nice ball end link there that shouldn't come off, with basically an aluminum coupler to go to the threaded rod that goes up to the servo. And of course, it's got a boot there to keep everything nice and watertight. All right, now let me pull the hatch off. I just got some basic tape on here to hold this on so it didn't flop around. But as you can see, nicely laid carbon fiber hatch comes right off. And again, you'll need some hatch tape in order to secure that down when you do go and run the boat. All right, so inside, why don't I talk about the fill chamber. Actually, I should have probably talked about that before, because that's one of the big features of this boat. It is a self-righting boat, which is pretty awesome. So over here, we've got some holes right up front here in the hull, and even big holes in the back. And what happens is if you do go flip the boat over, this chamber on this side of the boat will fill up with water and it will self-right the boat, which is very cool. Once you take off, it will dump the rest of the water out and the boat will be balanced again. But really nicely done, nice clear fiberglass in here actually, and it looks like it's nicely sealed and everything. So, you know, I'm of course going to go test that. That should be a lot of fun. But let me talk about more of the inside features now. So here is the shaft tube. What I really like about this particular setup is it's got this coupler here that attaches to the motor. So it all becomes one piece. A lot of boats out there have the motor separate and then the tube separate. And since they're separate from each other, they could flex. Where with this particular model, it's all one unit. So it's just going to stay true. And of course, you know, that it will cut down on the drag of the drive system there. So we've got a 3300 kV motor in here, a 10-shock motor, you know, again, attached with aluminum coupler. And as you can see, we've got some tubing here, and that is for the water cooling system for the motor. The motor mount itself is fiberglass. It looks like it's nicely fixed inside there. And what else do we have? I might as well move on to the rest of the electronics now. We've got a digital servo out back here to control the rudder. And then we've got a Hobby Wing based speed controller. It's a 40 amp speed controller. So it'll definitely handle the power, and it is water cooled as well. The water cooling jacket actually spits out of the top of the boat here. The speed controller is fitted with an XT60 plug. So it's got a high current plug on there. You're going to need that. And I think that pretty much wraps up the features of this little boat. And overall, it's just a really well-designed, nicely laid out boat that should just be a blast out there on the water. I've seen video of this thing, and it is super fast. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish setting it up. I'm going to put a Spectrum radio system in here, have a waterproof Spectrum receiver on the way. Then I'm going to use a Maxiam's 2250 LiPo battery. It's a 3S battery, and it will go right in this cradle here, which has Velcro straps to secure it down. So let's see how fast this thing goes. I'm going to head out on the water with my buddy Paul, and we're just going to have a great day testing the Mini Dom. I got this mini Dom right as the seasons were changing. It was going from fall to winter, and I called up my buddy Paul. He's got a pontoon boat, and said, hey, can we get out for one last run with boats on the water? And he said absolutely. So we took the mini Dom out for some fun. It was my first time driving it, and it's fast. This thing is a water rocket. I will say that. Basically, I set it up as I said it would. I had to put a radio system in. I put the STX2 in from Spectrum with a marine receiver, and then I mentioned I was going to use this Maxamps LiPo pack. This is a 2250 milliamp battery pack, and Oxidean Marine suggests that you use a 2200. So this was a little bit larger than what's supposed to go in here, and I would say definitely find a 2200 milliamp pack if you're running it, because that is the perfect size, the perfect weight for the perfect balance, and as long as you slide it farther back in, the boat's going to handle really well. So when I went out there for the first drive with this larger pack in it, it didn't handle quite right, and I also had the plastic prop on the back. So even though it was like super fast, it was a bit choppy. I think it was walking a little, maybe it was walking a little bit in the rear, maybe it was some prop deflection. I couldn't quite tell what it was. It just wasn't super smooth, and I sent some video over to Oxidean Marine and say, hey, what's up? You know, it's not looking like the other videos that are out there. And he says, you know, I bet you need to slide your battery pack back and you need the aluminum prop. And it was super cool. Went and sent me the aluminum prop, and I actually went and got another battery pack for it. This is an 1850 from Maxamps. I like to use Maxamps packs, so I was trying to use it, and this actually worked a lot better, even though this is probably a little bit lighter than a 2200. I did place the battery pack all the way back in the plate. I put that aluminum prop on there, went back out for another run, and that's when, you know, this thing just handled awesome. You know, it's fast. It is super fast. It gets up on plane super quick and just rockets across the water. And you know, you have to slow down for corners, obviously, when you're making your right-hand corners. Back off on the throttle a little bit, and this is kind of where driving comes into play. You got to kind of just see how the water is. Is it too choppy? Do you need to back off some more? Is the water smooth? And you can really power through the corners with this thing. So it is a fast, fun, super capable boat. You know, he had mentioned that a lot of people like to race these things, and I could see why. It handles really, really well once it was set up properly. And again, you know, a lot of people, they just want a fast boat and a small fast boat, and this fits both of those bills. It was a lot of fun. When I pulled it out of the water, the electronics just warm, so the water cooling system works. It's not overpowered to the point where it's just drawn so much amperage that it's just heating everything up. I think everything is picked properly. If I had to ding this boat for maybe something, I probably would have liked a bit smoother of a servo in this. On the bench, it seems just more a little analog-like in its performance. But, you know, out there on the water, you know, it's smooth. The cornering is smooth. I mean, I'm just kind of nitpicking because I'm trying to find something wrong with it, and you know, functionality-wise, there is nothing wrong with it. You got to put your radio system in there, and the rest of the stuff is some great electronics. You know, there's definitely no issue with the running hardware. The motor sounded smooth. It's got this nice high-pitched whine as it's ripping across the water. It is just a super fun boat, and it's a beast as well. I ran this thing up onto some cement when I was over at the park, and there's no damage to the bottom of the hull, no scrapes. And that's not something I suggest you do, but I did go ahead and push this thing as hard as I could for you guys. So, you know, if you are looking for a fast, fun boat, you know, this Oxidean Marine, they put out some fast, you know, really fast stuff. This is a little bit on the pricey side for its size, but you're getting all quality gear here. So I think, you know, if you like boats, you're going to have fun with this. And I see a lot of people posting pictures and videos of this boat online, having fun with it. And, you know, I really suggest that if this is the size boat you want, you go out and check out Oxidean Marine's Mini Dom.
That really good acceleration, like out of the hole. Like, as it moves a little bit, it's really